Henri Harrier, later known as Papillon, which means butterfly in French, was not born a criminal legend. He was just a man trying to survive in a hard world. But one accusation changed everything.
In 1931, Henri was convicted of a murder he always claimed he didn't commit. Whether he was innocent or not is still debated, but the system didn't care. He was sentenced to life in one of the most brutal prison systems in history, the French penal colonies of South America, known as Devil's Island. From the moment he stepped onto the prison ship, Henri made one decision. He would not die there. The journey itself was a nightmare. Hundreds of prisoners packed together, treated like animals, guarded by men who had no mercy. That's where he met Louis Degas, a quiet, intelligent man who had been convicted of fraud. Degas wasn't strong. He wasn't built for survival in a place like this. But he had something Papillon needed: money. And Papillon had something Degas needed: protection. So they made a deal. And that deal turned into one of the most unlikely friendships. When they arrived in the penal colony, reality hit harder than anything they imagined. The heat was unbearable. The jungle was alive with danger. Disease, violence, and hopelessness surrounded them every day. Most prisoners accepted their fate. Papillon didn't. His mind was always somewhere else, planning, watching, waiting, looking for a way out. His first escape attempt came quickly. Papillon gathered a small group, built a rough plan, and fled into the jungle. For a brief moment, he tasted freedom, the sound of the ocean, the feeling of moving without chains.
But the jungle was merciless. They were caught. Punishment in Devil's Island was worse than death. Papillon was thrown into solitary confinement, a tiny, dark cell where time didn't exist. No light, almost no food, no human contact. Days turned into months. Months turned into years. Many men lost their minds in there. Papillon came close. He hallucinated. He talked to himself. He stared into nothingness. But one thing never broke: his will to escape. After years of suffering, he was released back into the prison population. Most men would have given up by then. Papillon didn't. He tried again and failed again. Each attempt brought harsher punishment, deeper isolation, more pain. But something inside him refused to accept that this was his life. Over time, his friendship with Degas became deeper. Degas, who once feared everything, began to change. And Papillon, who only trusted survival, began to understand loyalty. They weren't just surviving anymore. They were holding on to each other. Years passed. Hope became fragile, but Papillon never stopped watching the ocean because he believed that somewhere out there was freedom. His final escape attempt was the most dangerous of all. Devil's Island was surrounded by violent waters, strong currents, and sharp rocks. No one escaped from there. It was considered impossible, but Papillon studied the waves. He noticed something. Coconuts would wash ashore, carried by the current, not destroyed by it. So he made a plan. Using a sack filled with coconuts as a floating device, he climbed to the edge of the cliffs. Below him, the ocean crashed violently against the rocks. One wrong move meant death. He didn't hesitate. He jumped. The waves swallowed him. For a moment, it looked like the ocean would win, but it didn't. The current carried him, just like the coconuts, away from the island, away from the prison, away from the life he refused to accept. Henri Harrier survived. He finally escaped. He eventually made his way to Venezuela, where he lived as a free man. Years later, he wrote his story. Papillon became a symbol of something bigger than just escape. He became a symbol of refusing to break, of fighting even when everything is against you, of holding on to freedom even when the world tries to take it away. And that's why his story still lives on today.